Hello and welcome to the Monday night guest stream. So, as you can see, I'm Ricky and that's Adam, and today we're joined by Ted, uh, Ted and Ro. So
What was wrong with that? You got it right.
I know I'm always mixed up the surnames, and it was just like
We keep on referring, as everyone does, as you as Brandt and Stein. So
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm a little bit disappointed you don't have some sort of like little mascot that looks, like the Frankenstein.
we haven't got round to that yet.
It's on our list.
But it's something you know of, right?
Oh yeah,
That's how I came up with my pen name, because we couldn't think of a name for the website. So I was like, well, sod it, I'm just going to change my name. So
You should do that.
it's easier that way.
That's cool.
So
I don't say that then.
obviously we originally you guys were supposed to be guests at the show last year, and then obviously we had to
Yeah.
cancel.
back in the before times.
Yeah. Or at the start times anyway. That's when we were supposed to be running. And then yeah, and you've been kind enough to sit with us today to chat about comics. So I guess first things first. Do you want to say how you got? What was the first thing that got you into comics?
Do you mean reading or making?
Let's go with reading first. Just the medium in general.
From the very beginning.
Yeah.
Well, my history's a lot longer because it was about 30 years ago. So no, well, a little bit over. When I was 2 or 3, reading Asterix and Tintin books at my dad's house, I think. So he had a pretty hefty collection of both of them. And then I fell in love with Superman and Batman because he had 2 books, like big kind of digest things, which are called Superman and Batman Through the Ages, I think. I've got them over there. I'll go. Bear with me 2 seconds. I'll just get one.
It's one of
Came
those
prepared, sort of.
Yeah, so it's Batman from the 30s to the 70s
Oh wow, that is
Digest.
pretty cool.
thing, and I've got a Superman one
That's
as well.
the
So
actual one.
It's yeah, this the ones that I read when I was about 4. It was printed in the UK for a price of £1.25, so it tells you how old it was.
Long ago.
But it's basically they're great. So mostly black and white reprints, couple of like pages of color here and there, but it does kind of seminal single issues from each of the eras, or like some of the stories, and like reprints of all the best covers from each of the decades as well. It's really great books. But then yeah, that was what really got me into superheroes. And then when I was about 5 or 6, it was X-Men the animated series started, and so well, that just broke me, and
Yeah.
here I am.
Oh, didn't it all break us all in the early 90s, though, isn't
Yeah.
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 it? And
I wasn't really a comics nerd. I'm still not a comics nerd. I was an animation nerd who didn't have the patience for animation.
I'll do one of these, right? And they move on their own?
Yes. Oh. Yes, I went to. My first university was to do animation. I lasted a year. And I was like, nah, I don't have the patience for this, or the risk durability.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But it's drawing them live. That's the problem.
Oh, yeah.
Really,
yeah.
really messes you up.
Reminds me of the episode of Beavis and Butthead where they find out that animation, you need a lot of these things to actually make animation work, otherwise it doesn't work.
Yeah. Oh, the most amazing thing about animation that I've ever seen, though, is actually at the Comics Museum in Angoulême, which is an animation that they've got that was made by Winsor McKay, who did Little Nemo and Slumberland.
Yeah.
And it's 1,400 frames that he drew in a month, fully painted. Beautiful thing.
That was like no sleep job, right?
I mean, you never know, because like John Buscema was legendary for turning in like he took. I think it was an issue of Conan. The story goes that like he turned it in after 2 weeks of work, and the editor said, "It's not your best work, is it, John?" He said, "No, it isn't." And give me the weekend, and turned in all 24 pages over the weekend.
I don't understand how anyone can do that.
No.
It's too fast.
I mean, some of it is to do with the way that it was done, because like Buscema, Kirby, all that, like a lot of it was much looser than what you'd consider pencils these days. Like you look at, especially if you look at like people like Lane Yu or Steve McNiven, who are detailed to the max in their pencils, or Ryan Stegman, say, like it's completely the opposite of that. It's what people like Stegman or Greg Capullo or whatever would consider layouts, really. That was penciling back then, and then finishes with all the inkers.
Yeah.
Like you see it a lot at the moment where people will share the stills of different Disney films, and then they cheated and stuff, and it's like, no, it makes it easier for everyone involved.
I mean, the great artists were the same. I mean, I studied art in college, and I was heartbroken when I discovered that I like Botticelli. He reminded me of comic book artists. A lot of his reference pieces were very cel shaded, and my lecturer would go, the reason why you see the same guy in the same pictures is because he'd have a drawing of that guy, and he'd crush up some charcoal, and he'd have little pinholes, and he'd dab it on the wall. Like, no, do it all freehand. And they're like, no, and you got other people to do it, Everyone does it. I'm like, stop drawing.
So, how did you get into like drawing comics
The
then?
industry.
Well, we met at university because, like Rose said, started doing animation and switched universities and courses, and came and joined me at the Glyndor University in Wrexham, the art school there. At that point, had a illustration for comics course run by Dan Berry, who you may well have heard of. Like most people in UK comics know Dan these days. And so, yeah, Dan was our teacher for 3 years. And we graduated and then tried getting work solo, and it didn't really go anywhere. And we teamed up.
Yes, because you found it was not quite. Would you class it as an advertisement? A call for help.
Yeah, it was an open call
from Jeremy Whitley, who creator of Princeless, because the third volume, the artist had to drop out for personal reasons, and so the book was really late and needed an artist. So we auditioned for that.
Yeah, I think that's the best way of saying it. We kind of took a day, sketched up some character designs of what they would look like. Sent Jeremy a message saying, "Hey, there's these," and because we sent him obviously what little samples we had of our own work, but
we didn't have anything of that we'd done together.
We'd never worked together before,
so
which was a thing. It's not great to if you're working that closely with someone to do it on your first actual professional gig. Though, a lot of pressure.
So we
Yeah.
kind of had something similar with us. Because we members of Swansea Comics Collective, and we were all working on different things, and then nothing was getting done. All indie work really. So we were all working on different things, and then the group came up with an idea to work one shared universe, one shared story, so that we could break
Marry
up
as many of the ideas together as possible.
And we went from just being people who spoke when we had meetings to
people confusing us for a married couple.
Yeah.
We're totally fine with that as well.
Yeah,
I mean,
it doesn't bother us.
we have well, not the unique thing, but I keep imagining if I do that, my hand's going to come in the shot. We have the unique thing of being able to, I guess maybe it's the same with yourselves when I was going to ask you about this in a bit, but we argue in this. I always say argue in the same direction. There's no point. You don't get anything done about, especially when you're writing. I guess same when you're doing art, whether something looks good or not. Sometimes, like being in an echo chamber of just on yourself doesn't work when you have somebody else there arguing with you whether it's good or not, or whether it's good. Tends to make things better sometimes. So I guess you do that
Oh,
with your work.
definitely. Yeah.
Well, it's like many times throughout the day, we'll just like lean over to each other, like, "Is this working? Is this all right?" And it's like, "Yeah, it's fine."
Yeah,
A lot of that.
both with writing and art, we work together to the point where it becomes, like with anything we do, it becomes very difficult to say who did what exactly.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ricky. Apparently, you're very silent on the stream. I'm getting insults
Okay.
from people.
Sorry.
I'm joking. You didn't get it. It wasn't.
Bear with me a second.
Thanks, Kelly.
Okay. Bear with me a second whilst I fix my settings.
What I'll do is I'll check my phone, and then when she says it's okay, do me to be any quieter, Kelly? So yeah. So I was going to ask, how do you normally work then? How's your what's your normal when you get page layout? When you get a script, how do you work together?
Well, we go through and like read the script together, and like the process varies book to book. But like say with Crowded, then we go through and Chris is a very verbose writer. He puts in he throws everything in the kitchen sink into a script. So like a lot of the time we do our best to accommodate literally everything that he asks for, but sometimes it's a case of looking at it and working out what's prunable to keep the intent of what he wants. So we'll go through like often.
Where do you need to focus?
Yeah, exactly. So like often highlight relevant chunks from each panel description to make sure that we know what we're doing. Ro counts the dialogue on each page.
Yes, make sure that leave enough space to actually put the dialogue in. So, because otherwise, I think it would be very easy to make it not workable.
Yeah, because it's one of those things of like if you're working with an external letterer, and especially if you've got a verbose script, it's very it's standard courtesy to make sure that you're absolutely planning enough areas where the speech can be dropped. So, like what will happen after we've done the done the read through is we've got a Clip Studio file with dummy speech balloons of like different, so like a 1-word one, a 5-word one, a 10, a 15, a 20, a 30. So then we
goes
can
up to 40. So
that we can drop them in as needed to arrange, so we can see how the dialogue will flow on the page.
Yeah.
Because with like I said, with a particularly wordy like script like Crowded often is, then we need to feel what the flow of text reading will look like to design the imagery and the panels around that. So that's usually our first step once we've read it, to like at least see how much real estate we've got left to work with, and then start doing. They will like do layout sketches in a notebook. So yeah, you might have to hold it a bit closer, Sue. So
good
really,
luck telling what the heck any of that is.
Yeah, no, we're quite generous in that way. I mean, some of our artists don't like us doing breakdowns, but occasionally just for our own sake, and so that we don't ruin the art when we have done scripts, we've made sure that we are as concise as possible. So nobody Jonathan Rossi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no wrong answer with any of this. It's all, everyone has their own way of doing things. It just needs each one needs a slightly different response.
Yeah, that's cool. So when you do your do you work on the same pages together, or do you just like flip? Do you just plan out and make sure that everything flows, or do you how do you work?
We work on them together mostly.
Yeah. I sometimes step back from doing like too much detail with layouts
Yeah.
if I'm busy with something else.
Yes, because
The year I was doing backups,
Oh, yeah.
I did not do the layouts for Crowded, other than like proofreading yours.
yes, you were far too busy.
Because it wasn't last year, the year before. Like, in order to raise a bit of extra cash, then as well as doing an arc of Crowded, I also did the finishes for an entire graphic novel, which is due out next month, I think, month after, called The Backups, written by Alex DeCampi, with breakdowns by Lara Kane and colours by D. Cunniff. And so yeah, like I didn't get to do much Crowded work other than inking that year because, well, by the end of the year I turned in just shy of 400 pages.
Anything you mentioned as well, we can put up on Twitter and Facebook and things like that. So just let us know everything you want us to share and plug the crap out of.
And
Shall do.
so after Princeless, where did you go? Was it to Marvel then, or do you do some more sort of smaller stuff?
No, it's pretty much straight into Marvel actually. Because we did the one volume of Princeless, then we did 12 issues of the spin-off, and then we wrapped that up for a variety of reasons that I don't think it'd be a good idea to go into on the air. And then that was when Jeremy was just getting his Marvel break, and so with the Monsters Unleashed Champions tie-in, then they didn't have anyone particularly in mind, so they said to him,
Who would you like?
yeah, who do you want for art? So we got pulled in.
And that's kind of where I first met you, because I bought a page from you at Thought Bubble
Hey, look at that.
in 20.
I think that might have been my favourite page from that.
Yeah, that was a
Our
really good
favorite
page.
page, actually.
Yeah.
Well, I bought it because I'm a big Spider-Man fan, and even though it's not my Spider-Man, it's still Spider-Man. So
Certainly is.
yeah, I still haven't had it framed yet, but it's kept safe, and I thought I could pull that out to show off now.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I bought the first two issues of Crowded off you at the con, and then I put it into my pull list when I got back. So I have fallen behind on it a bit, but so
Oh, that's all right. I mean, the last volume, we dropped doing single issues anyway, so it's coming out in trade later this year.
that's probably why it just stopped being in my bag. So so it was like,
Yeah. Well,
Just because it wasn't there to be put
No.
in.
I know.
it's just because it's the perils of indie books. Trades are profitable, but you have to be lucky for the single issues to be actually making any money. And
Yeah.
we were still making a bit of money off the singles, but it was that thing of we weren't sure if it was gonna stay like that. So we decided to just do the final volume trade only.
So
Which
yeah,
one's
so I
get
look
that far?
forward to seeing that. I did see your tweet earlier that there's 18 pages left and 17 days to go. So
Yeah.
sounds hectic.
I mean, well, like,
I have 66 panels left to draw.
yeah. So in the last 28 days, I've done 34 pages. So 18 in 17 days is actually fine.
Sounds well, when you put it like that, it sounds reasonable, but at the
Yeah.
same time, yeah, it's one of those things that it's like, whoa, that looks. And coming from indie background where we're all doing it as on top of our jobs, getting a 24-page book that is is
Yeah.
it's like a long time. So you see 18 and 17, and it's like, whoa.
Yeah, that's crazy. Impressive, commendable. We used
Well,
to,
we are very lucky that we can do it. We're very lucky that we can do it full time, which yeah. I mean, especially with a book like Crowded, it would be almost impossible to make part time.
get one volume every 5 years.
Yeah, because there's just, every now and then we do the really regrettable thing of like counting up the number of panels in a trade or anything, because I mean, even just with the trades, they are not wanting to big ourselves up too much, but they're ridiculously good value because they're priced at the same same rate as a normal image trade. But like a standard trade these days has 5 issues of 20 pages. This has got 6 issues of 24 pages. So instead of 100, it's 148 pages. So it's like
that there's never 6-issue arcs anymore.
And then on top of that, then like I think in the first arc, our average panel count was 9 per page, roughly. Which means that you're looking at, so 9 over 150 pages. That's, 6 of those would be 900. So we're looking at about 1,200 panels in the first arc.
And then there's screens everywhere in the book. So like it's like mini panels in a panel as well. So
Yeah.
sorry.
It's fine. Like it's been a great experience, but while we're sad to see it go, we're also kind of relieved.
It's going to be very interesting to see how much brain space we have once Crowded isn't everything.
So when we did speak at Thought Bubble last, you were saying about it being optioned by Rebel Wilson. Are we still likely to see something from that?
I mean,
no idea.
We don't know because obviously coronavirus hit a lot of potential plans for Hollywood.
Yeah.
Because before that, she was like,
she was keen.
Yeah, she was actively pursuing it, but then we haven't heard much since pandemic, so we'll have to wait and see.
Because like
she's
when
off in like middle of nowhere in great shape in the hills, she's probably not reading a comic book strip. She's probably just drinking water.
But like when I read the book, I could honestly see her playing that role.
Yeah, I mean the option was re-upped because it expired during the pandemic, and it was re-upped. So presumably she's still keen because she was pushing quite hard to get things ready. She was pushing a lot to kind of get a pitch together before the pandemic hit, and then has re-upped the option. So like it's presumably still on, but like I mean we have no direct contact at all. It like. At most, what happens is like occasionally Chris's agent will reach out to hers to try and bug them, and they may get back to them. So it's everyone's.
Chris have one meeting actually with Rebel.
Yeah, Chris did get to like actually meet her and talk to her and everything, and
the phone call after that was quite funny. He was just like, "This is weird."
Yeah, like because they flew him down to LA for an afternoon to go say hello.
So, well, fingers crossed for you.
So cool.
But if it goes ahead, you've got to be like a set visit in line for you, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That'd be really cool.
Like we at the very least, we said that like we want them to pay for us to go out and see everything because obviously on a comics artist budget you can't just fly to LA when you feel like, but
no.
One
of the reasons why we kind of put ourselves in our own comic because we have to be in it. Get optioned.
Good plan.
So Adam's got behind him on his shelf is 2 knitted versions of characters from our comic book that are based on our appearance.
I've got my daughter's origami on everything as well, so. Crane. She does lots of cranes.
Oh, they're cute.
They are adorable.
Yeah.
I had one kid making them kiss before as well. We were like, "It's fine. What's not happening?"
But they were made by like one of my colleagues in my day job, so she knitted them for me. So what's in? Have you got anything in the pipeline for after Crowded, or are you going to take a break?
Well, we've got a few things that are tentative, like no like concrete plans at all. As soon as we're finished, we've got the 4-page story for the DC Pride anthology that we'll need to do.
That's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Just like quickly turn it around.
yeah, but I mean, that's
Can
going
you
to be.
give us any information?
It's
Pied
starring
Piper.
Pied Piper, Hartley Rathway, written by Sina Grace, and it's going to be a lot of fun. The script is it's only 4 pages, but the script packs in a lot in those 4 pages. So
Polls. On my poll,
Yeah.
you don't have any DC.
No, I don't tend to read DC. Not because of anything. I've just been I was always a Marvel kid, so it's
Show my
Marvel
teacher then, but I won't.
Marvel and Image and indie stuff that I tend to pick up these days. So,
fair enough.
but
Yeah,
if Adam
after-
gets it, I
after
will
that's done.
definitely read it. Um,
Yeah, so after that's done, then we've got a graphic novel pitch to do, and so April's going to be doing that pitch and finishing up the script for the first graphic novel that we've written. Oh, because it's already been done. Yeah, we've already finished the first draft. We're onto the rewrites of the second now.
Make it all shiny.
Yeah.
Any from me?
It's heavily influenced by sports manga and romance stuff. Think Yuri on Ice, but with weird science explosions rather than skating.
Okay.
sounds
I don't see many
sounds
explosions in
interesting.
sports, but I'll take your word for it.
Well, unless you count
We're
pro
sold.
wrestling.
You get explosions in wrestling?
Yeah.
You're doing explosions in wrestling, you're doing it wrong.
But so
Oh, and he threw a landmine.
Kinda.
I'll
Yeah.
show you. I'll send you a link later. But
Okay.
so is there anything, if you could pick anything that you could that like no questions that you could work on, is there any like property out there, or would it be something creator owned?
Well, if you're talking licensed stuff, there's a few things we've discussed.
Yeah, and I can't think of any of those off my head apart from.
I mean, Discworld,
Oh yeah. Yeah, I remember that.
like
The late bloomer to this
we
as well.
wouldn't. We couldn't turn down Discworld.
No.
We've said multiple times on Twitter that like if we could get hold of the license for Person of Interest comics, then we would probably jump at those. Me personally, not so much Row. If I got the chance to do Legion of Substitute Heroes, then that would be it. That's the one superhero property, the one corporate superhero property I really want to get my hands on. The subs, they'd just be perfect.
You can't think of any, bro.
No, I'm very
No.
bad under pressure.
And also, you just don't like superheroes that much.
It's not my area.
It's fine.
Understandable.
No.
I could imagine. I mean, I would be happy if anybody threw me a bone like that. If anyone said, "Do this," I'd go, "Okay."
Yeah.
I say that now, and then there'll be something really tasteless, like, "Oh, a Nazi character that that was discontinued." Yeah, we want you to write. No. I'll just go back to my hole. Try to run across the floor.
Okay. We got a question from the chat from Uhara Sai. What is your favorite visual joke that you've snuck into a comic?
Oh.
God, that's
Oh god.
oh. I mean, there's such a long list. I think mine, honestly, is I think my one would have to be when they get to Vegas in Crowded and there's the giant sign for Marie's condos. Because we did that right around the time when Marie Kondo was a big deal.
Was it just when her
Yeah.
TV show was coming out?
Yeah, like her Netflix show had just dropped around then. And so it just seemed really on the nose to have her selling a line of apartments because we gave them the advertising tagline of minimum space, maximum joy.
Good.
So
Good.
I think that's probably my one.
I think my favourite has to be America's Next Top Bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah.
If you can't throw things like that in, then there's just no point, really.
No, but that's the thing, like, Crowded's been really fun for things like that because it's allowed us to, like, just go ham on doing whatever the hell we want in terms of entertaining ourselves with the background.
Yeah.
The TiVo was really fun.
Yeah, but it's just great because it rounds out the world. Like, cause if you put in one visual gag, then it's a gag. But if you put in 50 of them, suddenly you start getting a picture of what that world is like.
Yeah.
And because I was also, I don't know which of us was responsible for it, but I was also really happy with there's one coming in Volume 3, which is a male cologne called Nose Punch Debrodorant.
But
I think it was a collaboration on a dog walk. Because we were talking about there was a product that had just come out that we
it was one of those days, one of those days ending in Y when Twitter was talking about a fragile masculinity product.
Were we talking about Brose?
Yeah, or Guy Liner. It was one of these fragile masculinity things. So it was like, well, come on, there's already deodorant for men, but we need to make one for really insecure men. And so, like, Nose Punch comes in a spritz bottle that's a hand with a middle finger up, and the middle finger is the bit that's got the aerosol on it.
Yeah, we always, you've got to do things like that. We always do that with our stuff as well.
and it really works for Crowded because of the concept of everyone living with like on apps and everything like that. So
Yeah,
it does really lend itself to those. There's someone who's in the chat. Y2Gen is saying that all the little background things are so good. Oh, so good. We've also got a question from Cliff Cheese that's what has been your biggest mistake that you have learned from?
Well, Cliff, I can tell you that one. That was the first illustration agent we signed with. That was a terrible idea. We won't name them for obvious reasons, but we were fresh out of university because the art schools, most of them will send their students to a show in London at the end of the degree called New Designers. So you get illustration classes have basically a booth where each of the illustration students will have their key pieces up, and you've got product designers who have small mock-ups of the products they've designed or furniture. It's a big showcase for anyone who's been doing a creative visual degree. And we got picked out by an agent, and we were very flattered because an agent, she wants to talk to us, and she's said all these lovely things like we haven't taken anyone fresh out of university in 10 years, and
that should have been a warning.
Yeah, it really should. And then
non-compete clause in the contract, which was great.
Yeah,
I mean that we couldn't find our own work, and they weren't finding work for us either.
It was bad enough that that Roe was actually offered a job by a comics writer, and we had to funnel it through the agent, and the agent flat out refused to deal with it.
Just completely ignored it.
So, yes, our biggest mistake was taking someone at their word rather than reading all the fine print on them and their contract.
Young and naive.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, if you were offered it when you're straight out of uni, it sounds great, doesn't it? And
oh yeah, and she, like I said, the agent was it was her agency. She was the head of it, and she was saying how, oh yeah, obviously we put a lot of work into helping you develop your portfolio, giving you feedback so you can improve, so that if there's any weak spots, we can hammer those out before you get work. But then, once we'd signed the contracts, we found the phrase "reasonable efforts" on there. So of course that's vague enough that for us, they thought the reasonable effort was to ignore us.
Well, we did have a meeting where she basically gave us a bunch of JPEGs from different artists and essentially said, "Don't come back until your art looks like this."
Yeah.
I was like, thanks. That's really helpful.
Yeah, and if that's the case, why sign you in the first place?
No idea.
I don't know. It's
So
weird.
on that theme, what advice would you have for any aspiring comic creators?
Think about your craft, and and I mean that in a very real sense, because with all the best will in the world, I've seen a lot of people new to making comics of varying ages who haven't thought about it properly. Like, all of it requires patience and thinking until you've learned enough that you can do it on instinct. Because part of the problem that a lot of people have is they can draw fine, but drawing an illustration and drawing a comic couldn't be more different. And what the three books I'd recommend really would be Scott McCloud's Understanding Comics.
Yep.
Marcos Mateo Mestra's Framed Ink. And you'll have to forgive me, I can't remember the name of the author. It's called Directing the Story, which is a really good book focusing on animation, but like storyboarding for animation and like how to. So, yeah, those are the three books I tend to recommend to people. Possibly, it's sort of like that kind of format. Nice, like small square illustration in the center of the cover.
Do we have that somewhere?
I don't know if we still do.
Something,
We might have lost it in the move.
Ah,
I see it. Yeah.
so we've got the
That's the one.
framed ink and stuff over there.
Yeah,
Do you know there's another one
I've
that
got
goes
one of
out?
Scott.
Yeah.
I got Scott McCloud somewhere.
yeah.
Like, I actually got them in the house somewhere.
Oh yeah, I mean, valuable.
Yeah, I think I got it somewhere. I've also got like the Marvel one,
Oh, that's brilliant.
and
Love it.
I'm trying to think if I got them behind me. Oh, I can't see them at the moment, but yeah, I think I got one like Peter David, How to Write Comics as well somewhere, which was really good. But yeah, that it's those kinds of things, and obviously, if you he gives it away piece by piece online, but you can buy their books. Is Lorenzo
Yeah.
Etherington's stuff. I don't know if
Yeah.
you've seen that, but
Yeah, we've got
three books
all
right
three
there.
of the
Yeah.
How to Think When You Draw books,
Back to that
which
latest
also,
Kickstarter.
for anybody watching, really recommended. And their Kickstarter is currently going, so you can get all of the
Out
the
of
first
print
three
ones.
volumes on a reprint, and the fourth one as well, which cannot recommend them enough, because, like I was saying about the idea of approaching craft thoughtfully, these books are really good at helping you think about economical forms and shapes to make quite complex things visually, so that but without expending too much mental effort yourselves.
Yeah.
So they're
How to
really,
draw a tree thing is fantastic.
they're beautiful books and really, really valuable from that point of view. So yeah, I definitely add those in, because I often hesitate to recommend like books that teach a specific style per se, but the Etherington Brothers ones are much more about how to, well, like literally how to think, like how to combine shapes and to make form, and the books I'm talking about with like Scott McCloud, Framed Ink, and Directing the Story, none of them tell you a right way of doing it, but they're very good at giving you the tools to think for yourself with clarity about what it is you want.
I think one of the things is people forget. Well, a lot of people come. We had people themselves show off art to us. And there's no, as you said, there's no wrong way of doing it. There's no wrong way to do a comic book. Really, I mean, there's no wrong way to do art. But some people forget the very simple thing that if you can do it once, can you do it sequentially? Different sizes, different shapes, turnarounds, and things like that. A lot of people just don't realize they have to obviously have to do that. Um,
Yeah.
it's one of those things. I was going to ask as well. Circling that subject slightly was influences. Who influenced you? Like now still, who do you dig?
Um,
Well, over the last year, it's broadened a lot actually because we've been reading. Like last year, we picked last year to get into manga actually.
Yes.
So been reading a lot of
Kira.
nice. So the two that probably had the biggest influence on us were
Which I have to tell you.
Witch Hat Atelier and Spy X Family,
Yeah.
which is just magical. But I mean, in terms of comics artists, the one we both look up to the most is Stuart Immonen because he's impossibly talented.
Yeah.
I mean, like, one of our biggest aims is to be able to pull off what he does of,
His versatility.
yeah, reinventing himself for every book while still being himself.
I haven't seen any of my titles for a while actually, but what is he doing? Anything current at the moment?
Not for anyone else. He's working on stuff just with him and Catherine at the moment. Because I mean, I don't know if you saw, they were running a webcomic via Instagram.
Grass of Parnassus, which is being made into a book now.
Yeah, they gave up on serializing it and turning it into an actual book, but it's incredible because it was made entirely for the constraints of Instagram, which gave them a really interesting formatting for it. And
it's gonna be like a comic made of Polaroids.
Yeah, it's just beautiful because I mean, it's working for them in a very similar vein. I don't know if either of you ever saw the webcomic project they did a long time ago that is now an out of print book called Never as Bad as You Think.
I don't think
I
saw it.
No, ring a bell.
It's a beautiful work. I would recommend you get it, but unfortunately it's not even on Comixology anymore. It was on there for about 2 weeks. But it's a great idea. Because what happened with that was Catherine was writing it, obviously, Stuart drawing, and every week Catherine would go on one of those like Illustration Friday blogs, and their illustration prompt, word or phrase, would be the subject of her writing. And so it was a 52-page book, 1 page a week that they were doing, that wove between all these different stories completely seamlessly. Like camera just kind of following one person, then tacking off onto someone else. Like there was never any gap between the stories at all. But it was just borderline surrealist because of the prompts and how they interpreted them. So it's this incredible thing of really quiet and calm, and nothing actually out of the ordinary happened, but just the way it was all done made it kind of almost cartoonishly Lynchian, possibly.
Mm.
It reminds me actually a bit, thinking of it, of that episode of The Simpsons where they keep
22 short films about Springfield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an ongoing joke that I've got with some of the guys that help us with the con, that there is always a Simpsons quote.
Kelly's got a Simpsons
Or
quote.
Futurama.
One of our viewers. Hopefully she's still watching. Got nothing else to do, Kelly. She and I work together and work always, and there's always a GIF as well for it as well. And we use Teams a lot, and there's always a GIF for something. It's usually Ralph Wiggum. It's usually something like "I'm helping" or "I'm learning" or something like that.
But, yeah.
Me fail English? That's impossible.
Hello, Super Nintendo
I'm in
Charmer.
danger.
And that's
Kelly's
what
probably
Kelly
not.
has just said in the chat, is the "haha, I'm in danger." But Yeah, so one of our helpers, Sam, will say something, and I'll usually come up with a Simpsons quote based from somewhere between season 1 and 10, and after that it kind of gets a bit loose, but there's always a
Just like
Simpsons quote. So, seeing as you came to the art from an animation side, is there an animator that was your big influence?
Glenn Keane. Did like Little Mermaid and so many others. I'm also a big fan of Corey Loftus, but he's more in the design sector stuff.
I fell in love with David Earl's art, the concept artist for the early Disney movies. He did a lot. He did a lot of the surreal concept art for things like Sleeping Beauty and Alice in Wonderland and things like that. And I was taken aback by it. I recommend checking him out. He passed away a few years back, but his screen prints are just hypnotic.
Mm.
Emotional work. What about Miyazaki? Can't say that you like animation, not like Miyazaki stuff.
I've never seen one of his
No?
films.
Honestly, you Spirited Away?
I've not seen it.
Oh.
I've not seen a single one of his films.
Oh, well, we'll rectify that this weekend, maybe.
Yeah. Yay, homework.
Yeah, fun homework.
Yeah.
To be fair, I'm with Ro up until
Yeah. They're not
Nice.
Miyazaki. I thought they were.
Adam and my other friend, who were both big into like Japanese anime and stuff like that. They nagged me and nagged me and nagged me to watch. I think it was Princess Mononoke.
Probably. He was like, he came over. This is spoiling it for Becky now because she thinks he's probably just instantly cool. But he came over and like, it's a good film I can watch. What have you got that I can borrow? Ghibli's that will watch. And I was like, Ponyo? Which I think I don't have them all. I have a bunch of them.
Yeah, but
I think most of them are on Netflix now,
Yes,
aren't they?
yeah. I've got them on Blu-ray just down there, and sometimes if I'm lazy, I just turn to my daughter and say, "Watch Howl's Moving Castle again." Yeah, go on then.
But so we usually do some fun questions to finish off. So I'm gonna turn that over to Adam. He's the one who usually
Yeah.
comes up with it.
Normally it's a versus question. I thought, I kind of hedged my bet, thinking, you guys are gonna like anime or something like that. And I don't know why this came to mind. What was I? Oh, I was reading Akira. I got the third volume. I'm going through them. I thought you guys would be like, oh yeah, Japanese animation, manga, I'm all over that stuff. So this is going to be a little bit redundant now. My versus question. This is just, this is just like anything from anywhere. And I think was probably I like video games, really into video games, as you can tell with all the comic books. I don't video games there. Astro Boy versus Mega Man. Who would win?
Astro Boy, come on. You need to
Two
think about
morals alone. Damn it.
I'm not sure I'd be able to tell you which one was which.
Astro Boy looks like the
Boy's the
little
most
plastic boy in a pair of boxers, and Mega Man's got like the kind of round head, blue armor, and blastery arms.
Oh yeah, I might have thought they were the same person.
It could be the same person, but one naked almost, and one in armor. Astro Boy's got a really questionable thing about like art books and things like that. There is a history of Astro Boy that's in Waterstones. It's got some really questionable stuff, like how does Astro Boy get refueled? You don't want to know. I'm just gonna leave it at that. My daughter and I were thumbing through it. I was like, you just see that? That's a syringe, and that's not going in his mouth. So let's leave the visual.
The old Crichton recharge socket.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Kind of. That's my dumb question out of the way. Chuck these out of the way. You asked most of my questions already. Sorry, Kat.
All right. And
He's desperately thinking of something.
I know.
Okay.
The one I would ask is, what are you actually reading then at the moment? Do you have anything on a pull? Do you have a local comic shop you have
We don't have a local comic shop, period. And also, we not only that, but we are so limited on space, so we actually buy most of our stuff digitally now. Like, unless there's a very specific artifact of a book that's worth owning.
I should probably consider that because most of my shelves.
Oh,
This has collapsed a few times.
Yeah.
I just moved back into my parents', and yeah, comics are just like boxes everywhere, blocking drawers and like long boxes, short boxes,
Yeah.
and I got a bookshelf full of them
Yeah.
downstairs that didn't move with me when I left, and there's just a bookcase full of comics, and now I've just got more and more boxes. And I can see like at least 4 boxes from where I'm sitting.
I was probably sleeping on something. But
So,
what about books then that you would
but
recommend people?
they still reading. Just because they're reading digitally, it doesn't mean
Yeah.
that.
I was just going to say things that you're
Yeah.
reading. You know, what can you recommend?
Yeah. Well, a couple of weeks ago when I injured my hand, I plowed through in 1 week, I think 11 volumes of My Hero Academia, which is real good.
Yeah.
Really, really good. It's basic pitch for Western audiences is generally like Sky High, only competent as a story.
Yeah.
Oh, you
I
got to
was
get hate on
impressed
Twitter.
with that.
I really enjoyed Sky High, but you can't defend its quality. It's very fun, but it's not good.
We talked about Sky High, the Disney film, right? With
Yeah.
I love Sky High.
yeah, it's a
but
guilty
It's
pleasure.
very enjoyable.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not saying that like anyone shouldn't enjoy it, but you don't need to say that it's good to enjoy it.
Oh
That's
no,
all.
it's one of those
I
things
feel
that
like it was
if
made
you
by
break
Robert
it,
Rodriguez as well. Am I wrong? Yeah, it feels like Robert
I think
Rodriguez.
no, I think it was.
but
Yeah,
like it's definitely a kids movie. But it's at the same time, the people that they've cast in it are definitely for like adults. So like,
yeah.
Kurt Russell, Linda Carter,
Yeah.
what's his name, Bruce Campbell.
Oh, Mary Elizabeth Winstead as well. She's quite serious even in comedy roles.
So
No, I like
Yeah.
I like My Hero.
Yeah. So yeah, My Hero Academia. The latest volume of Witch Hat Atelier was just staggering. If you haven't read that, can't recommend it enough. It's one of the most incredible books for art that I've seen in years. Like, it was one of those things of like people were talking about it last year because hang on, what's this? So we like checked out a couple of pages and went and bought all of the available volumes immediately.
Mhm.
It's really good.
Delicious in Dungeon?
Yeah, Delicious in Dungeon.
Are there more volumes of that out?
Yeah, there are.
I need to read them.
Yeah. Let's think.
I'm a big fan of the Adventure Zone graphic novels.
Yeah. It's the fourth one. Yeah.
The fourth one should be out.
Coming from
soon-ish.
First Second, they're the adaptation of the McElroy brothers
D&D
D&D
podcast.
Right.
So they're all drawn by Carrie Peach, who is incredible.
So are you big into D&D?
Yes.
Yeah.
We literally had a session yesterday.
Yeah.
I haven't played it since in over a year now because of the stupid pandemic, but
Yeah, we've been doing it virtually, obviously.
yeah, the guys that I play with don't really want to do it virtually, so it's kind of been put on hold. But we had Keith Baker as one of our guests. 2018 was it? And he run a one-off session for us in
Just having the posters that go on my bedroom wall.
yeah, so
door.
like that was pretty cool. But yeah, so what classes do you both play as then?
We're both multi-classing currently.
Yeah. I'm a fighter druid.
And I'm a rogue sorcerer.
But
Yeah.
so
Yeah, it's fun. I'm a currently playing a Warforged as well because we're in an Eberron campaign, so much more like it's much less high fantasy, much more pulp fantasy. Eberron, like it's got both like Wild West and noir detective type stuff.
You do have a cowboy hat.
Yeah, so like it's got like wide deserts and sweeping vistas and all of that. But it's also got cities full of noir trope crime type stuff, and got railways and
Airships.
telegrams, all of that. So it's really nice setting.
In one of my Pathfinder games, I play as a halfling gunslinger.
Nice.
So that sounds right up my street. Although my halfling gunslinger at one point, it got really noir and everything. He was basically Batman with a gun at one point.
So the shadow then.
Yeah, and he used to ride around on a goat.
That's great.
Exactly.
So yeah, I look forward to playing again. But yeah, so this when you come down to our con in the future, it should be right up your street because we've got loads of D&D and tabletop-y stuff going on as well as comics and
Nice.
Yeah.
what are you doing?
Fantastic.
Oh,
Oh,
Adam
I
was
was scratching my elbow.
all right.
I'm sorry. If I look,
I saw you were doing that, and I was like, "Is he playing that game where you got to look at the circle?"
I think allowed to do that. No, I was scratching my elbow. Sorry, I have an itchy elbow. And Jamie was messaging me as well. Shut up, Jamie. That's completely out of context. Jamie knows what I mean.
But thank you so much for giving us your time. Unless
Oh, it's been a
anyone,
pleasure.
Yeah.
Yeah, if there's any last questions, then we're happy to
yeah.
to answer.
We wait to see if anyone asks. We have got a giveaway. I got a box
The
of
dog.
giveaway stuff. What? No, I'm not giving away the dog, even though she's been snoring behind me the whole time.
The cat's on my pillow sofa.
Okay,
How
so
cold.
what should we give away? Got an X-Men dice game.
The Dice Masters.
Yeah, Dice Masters. We got Card Wars.
God Wars.
We got some graphic novels. We got Gem and the Holograms graphic novel. Trade paperback. Which
I got
one?
this white thing with a glare in it.
Oh,
This white thing with a
sorry.
glare in it. This white thing with a glare in it.
There we
I
go.
say the card wars game.
Oh,
Okay.
the Sophie Campbell one. Nice.
Oh, there we go. All German holograms.
Yeah.
Head's seal of approval.
There we go. So we'll go with that. So give us a question for Ted and Ro, and whoever comes in first will win Gem and the Holograms from my box of prizes.
You gotta be careful you don't mix that box up. Like my work laptop.
I'll take one of the ones from that big glass cabinet of prizes. I think. Oh, that's nice.
That's my Warhammer stuff.
The stuff he's actually painted. He said he wasn't gonna be a problem, and it's now a problem.
Warhammer is always a problem once you get into it.
I've got a bigger
I've
problem.
been out long enough.
Painted in boxes and tubs. And stuff.
Not the best light integrating,
Nice.
but yeah, my Gazgul and then like all my orcs and my Death Guard are in there. So.
I've finished painting.
Yeah, just nerding out now. Well, nothing's coming in. No one
Also
wants to
make a
win.
little,
No one wants to win a prize. So, I guess it'll go back into the
Hands have been all over. Put it back.
go back in the prize
Yep.
box. Okay, but that's it, I guess. Thank you so much for your time, and we'll be back on Wednesday for the painting stream. So join us then, or And then I think we might be playing Jackbox games on Friday this week instead of Mario Kart because we're all sick of shouting at each other. And
I'm not. I play Mario Kart on my own.
but
Wait, you don't shout at each other playing Jackbox games? I think you might be
we
playing
haven't
them
played
wrong.
it yet.
What the heck? I know
Oh,
it's
right.
Oh.
how the heck did it work? We're gonna be all on
Uh,
video. I'm gonna be
I
like,
I think
you're
we
lying.
played. I think we played it on a New Year once. But it's weird that we were playing in the same room, so it was like um
We're not supposed to. Was that the thing? Because
I
I was
no,
like, I
it's
was
it's
terrible at it
remote
anyway.
and stuff. But yeah, it's one of those things where I think we weren't really. It was New Year, we were all drinking, so I don't think we got the best out of the game. So
We set this tradition. Everyone here, and now just a little thing. We used to go to like Ricky's place. This was before lockdown, and watch the worst movie we could watch at the beginning. Not like nothing tasteless, but just like the crappiest popular movie, or just between the midnight hours. So that'd be the worst film of the previous year, and possibly the worst film of the new year. And the one that broke us was The Room. We just couldn't. We not The Room. This is The Room, right?
yeah,
With Tommy
It's
Wiseau.
pure artistry. How dare you, sir? Pure artistry.
It was so bad. Um, I think after the first sex scene, if you can call it that, we just had to fast forward it. It was just
I think you mean the
horrible.
sex
We were
scene
drunk.
because they reused it
yeah, they reuse
Yeah,
it.
it was just we couldn't even.
because the
We got to
actress
the,
refused to let Tommy Wiseau get near her again.
yeah, we had to. We just got to the bit where he was like on the roof. You know, like I did not hear. I didn't. We got that part. We watched that bit, and then it was just a case of fast forwarding, fast forwarding. How
And
did he kill himself in that as well? Like he shoots himself and then shoots himself again.
but yeah,
It's
that one.
amazing.
I can imagine watching it in like in a cinema with people we're all in on the joke. It would be fun,
Like,
but like just a handful of you watching it whilst drinking, it really killed the mood. It was like because like we like a good bad movie. I think one of the years we did Transformers. Which one was it? The one where he rides Grimlock.
Mark. No, it wasn't that one. It was Marky Mark.
I was in Marky Mark, but
Because
that was one of them. So that's usually the caliber. So it's popcorny, and I think the the Room isn't really a popcorn film.
No,
horror film.
that is true.
So and it kind of killed the mood. But anyway, where
It's
can
more.
people?
I describe it more as art house cinema for people who've neither seen art, a house, nor cinema.
I thought it was just an excuse for money laundering.
Yeah, no one knows where
Quite
he got the
possibly.
money, do they?
No, because he spent at least $5 million on it himself.
Yeah, and like no one knows how old he is. No one knows where he's from, and no one knows where he got at least 5 to 8 million.
America, obviously.
My-
Land of the free.
My favorite theory is that Tommy Wiseau is DB Cooper.
I hadn't heard that one. I heard that like
Yeah,
when they made
that's a legit theory going around.
when they made the disaster artist, they had to keep telling him no because he was trying to, like, he was trying to get too close to them and everything. So it's like when he went up on stage, didn't he, with Frank Goff to receive an award for something, and he was like, "Oh, this is for me" and everything. But yeah. So anyway, enough about the Room. Where can people find you?
Twitter mostly, and Instagram.
Instagram for me as well.
I'm terrible at maintaining Instagram, but then you're not very good at maintaining Twitter, so it averages out.
I'm not great at either, but it's easier on Instagram because you don't have to talk much.
Yeah. So on Twitter, I'm 10_bandits. All letters, no numbers.
On both Twitter and Instagram, I am Stein404.
And and when is Crowded Volume 3 coming out? Just for when
We do not have a set time.
We don't have a publication date yet, because it's that thing of all the team are juggling multiple projects, with the exception of us, but we're nearly wrapped on our part. So the final interior pages will be off to the colorist soon, and so then it'll be a case of like when she's got time around gigs that are, because it's with creator-owned comics, like it's all back-end pay, so people often have to prioritize the jobs that are paying up front, which is perfectly reasonable. So once Tree has been able to carve out enough time in her schedule, then it'll get coloured, and sometime before then it'll be solicited. So I would imagine, like within the next month or two, it will be sent out for solicits. So, and then it'll be 3 months after that.
There you go.
So
if you follow you on Twitter and Instagram.
Oh yeah, we'll be
Yeah.
loud about it once
There you go.
once it's finally coming.
But
The
if you
finale
have,
is coming.
if you haven't read volumes 1 and 2, get them now, ready for volume 3 to come out. And you could probably get
It's a
them.
very good time.
Yeah, you could probably get them from wherever you get your comic books. So there we go. And I guess that's us for today. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Well, thank you. It's
Thank
been
you.
great.